Others rebirth, starting with a full-level princess and prince. My rebirth, starting with hunger so severe my stomach perforates, and my big brother bites his finger to drip blood into my mouth to keep me alive. My 7-year-old sister is burning with fever, no one cares, and my wicked grandmother still wants to kick our family out. Fine, don't blame me. Every living thing that can breathe on this mountain is reserved food for my Lu family. Hungry. My stomach aches like it's on fire. From rebirth to waking up, it only took a few minutes. In my previous life at this time, my big brother bit his finger and let me suck a few mouthfuls of blood to keep me alive. Now there's still a trace of blood in my mouth. I want to spit it out, but that gnawing hunger tells me I can't. Early winter, thin snow covers the mountains, so cold my shoulders tremble slightly. This is the Hunan mountain area. The mountain is called Baidaduo, so high it takes a whole day to climb. I'm 18 this year, with a 20-year-old big brother above me and a 7-year-old little sister below. My little sister is as thin as a weak kitten, too weak to speak loudly. Grandma said, the family needs to cut down on meals, especially for the little ones who can't work. Only one bowl of thin brown rice soup a day to keep them alive. My big brother is about to find a wife, but no girl is willing to marry into this family. We're so poor we can't even open the pot. Grandma favors second uncle and third uncle, and every day she takes our family's grain to support them. The children of second uncle and third uncle have a little meat on them, looking much healthier. I grip a slightly long knife in my hand. This is the longest knife in the house. A gift from my uncle who was a soldier when I was little. I never thought I'd be reborn into this famine era. I'm only wearing a thin little jacket, patches upon patches, all kinds of colors. But this is already the thickest piece of clothing the family could come up with. So this is what cold feels like. So cold there's no warmth left in my body. But I still carefully climb the mountain, keeping a close eye on the tracks of prey along the way. Yesterday, I was a sharpshooter in 2024, representing the national team in competitions abroad. At the airport, I encountered a criminal kidnapping a Chinese girl. I stepped in to save her, but was stabbed several times by the assailant and died. When I woke up, I was sucking my big brother's finger, his blood in my mouth. In my previous life, I ended up an orphan. My family members were sent away one by grandma, leaving only me to take care of my seriously ill father. Once my father died, I was sent to an orphanage. That loneliness, deep in the bones. So in this life, I have to make sure all my family survives. I move carefully through the mountains, and suddenly see 3-pronged animal footprints on the ground. Pheasant. I get excited and follow the claw marks upward. Because of the rebirth, the path is different from the previous life. In my previous life, I never went deep into Baidaduo Mountain. A few hunters ahead were all gored to death by wild boars. My family didn't dare go into the mountains to collect the bodies, only burn some paper money outside. Leaving widows and orphans, life became even harder. So before I left, I said, if I don't make it back, just burn some paper money for me. Mom and big brother aren't home. They went to work in the fields. Little sister has a high fever and can't go out. Dad is so sick he can't even get out of bed. Fortunately, because he eats very little, he doesn't need to go to the bathroom often, so Mom can take care of him while doing all the farm work for Grandma's family. I carefully approach a thick pile of grass. Pheasants are very clever. Even if you get close to their nest, they can hold still and not call. I have to sneak up quietly. Getting closer, 2 big pheasants. When the pheasants see me, they cluck in fright and jump out. I catch one with quick eyes and hands, the other flutters to escape, and I throw myself on it and catch it too. I have 2 chicken feathers in my mouth, and I'm covered in snow. But with 2 pheasants, I don't feel cold at all. My heart is racing with excitement. I tie the pheasants with 2 ropes around my waist and hang them at my side. Then I go back to the pheasant nest to check. Wow, 20 pheasant eggs. I tear a patch pocket from my clothes and put all 20 eggs inside. But thinking about taking these things back, not a single egg will end up with our family. Grandma will take them all to second uncle and third uncle. I find a tree, swallow my saliva, take out an egg, crack it open, and drink it directly. When a person is extremely hungry, they dare to eat even raw meat, let alone raw eggs. After drinking 3 eggs in a row, I regain a little warmth and strength. Catching those pheasants earlier really took all my strength. I put the pheasants away, take my knife, and dig traps near the nest, filling them with sharpened branches and bamboo sticks. Then I put the pheasants into the trap, and only bring back 4 eggs, leaving the rest as bait. The night darkens. Before I even get home, I hear Mom and big brother arguing with Grandma. You are the most venomous grandmother. How could you force my urchin to go up Baidaduo? That's deadly. Mom scolds and cries at the same time. Eldest son, Let's go down the mountain to call Urchin, my Urchin. Little sister's voice is weak. Mom, I'll go too. Sonia, don't go. It's too dark. You haven't eaten much today. Tonight, your mom's share of thin porridge will go to you and your dad. Grandma Yu Xianglan says sharply, humph. It's already dark. Be careful you don't go and never come back. Mom's heart sinks. Eldest son, you stay with your dad and sister. I'll go find Urchin alone. Big brother steals himself. Mom, I'll go find second brother. You stay home. I'm back. I pretend to limp, walking with great difficulty. I twisted my ankle. Help me. Big brother immediately steps forward. You, Urchin, don't go up the mountain again next time. Bro, be careful, my foot hurts. Let's go back to our own room. I didn't catch anything today. I'm freezing. Grandma rolls her eyes. You didn't work today? No dinner. My face darkens. This grandmother is indeed as vicious as ever. Mom immediately says, I did the work of 2 people. Give me 2 bowls of porridge. Otherwise, I won't work tomorrow. Grandma says sharply, humph. You're rebelling. Just 1 bowl. Take it or leave it. The family returns to the small broken room. The walls are stuffed with mud where the wind leaks. Mom wipes her tears. Urchin, don't go to the mountains anymore. It's too scary. If something happens to you, how can we live? But my hands and feet feel warm. Little sister is the first to react. Second brother, what's in your pocket? Sonia is the fastest. I pretended to be injured, but I'm not. There are 4 eggs in my pocket. I carefully take them out. Mom immediately says, should I cook them? Eat them raw directly, 1 for each of you, and 1 for dad. I already ate 3. Little sister swallows. Second brother, I want to eat. Okay, here you go. I give her the egg. Little sister asks Mom, Mom, how do I eat it? Crack it open and suck it out directly. Mom says, did you get these pheasant eggs from the mountains? Yes. I close the door. Dad, Mom, I want to call the village chief later and split the family from Grandma. Why? We need to split the family so we can eat meat. I stop pretending to have a twisted ankle, walk over and close the drafty door. I have 2 pheasants and 13 pheasant eggs in the mountains. If we don't split the family, I won't be able to bring any of them back. Big brother immediately says, Mom, I agree with Urchin. We can't let Grandma treat us like slaves. We have to split. Mom looks at Dad. Head of the family, what do you say? Dad just cracked an egg and drank it. Then says, split. We must split. I haven't eaten eggs in too long. If he had good food, his body wouldn't be so weak, and his illness wouldn't keep dragging on. Afterwards, the family drinks the porridge Grandma brought, as thin as water with hardly any grains. I don't eat, and hurry to the village chief's house. Uncle Chun, our family wants to split from Grandma and live separately. Can you preside over the matter? Village Chief Chun Guifu takes a puff of his dry tobacco. Mem, I'll get the record book. Lu Chung, I heard you went into the mountains today. Be careful next time. Fortune favors the bold, but you need to live to spend it. Uncle Chun, I know what I'm doing. Soon, our whole family, even Dad, is carried out to sit in Grandma's main hall. Mom, we want to separate and live on our own. Dad's voice is firm. Grandma rolls her eyes. Split the family? Lu number 1, a cripple like you. What right do you have to split the family? At this moment, the village chief and I just enter the house. Grandma, we are determined. We must split the family. The village chief sits down. Since Lu number 1 wants to split the family, as village chief, I must preside over justice. Grandma brought out several very chipped bowls. Here, these bowls are for you. My eyes narrowed. We couldn't even get a single intact bowl. Second uncle also took some farm tools, all of which were poor quality and easy to break. Second aunt took out thin quilts. These are your quilts. Third uncle and third aunt brought out half a bag of cornmeal and a bag of dried pickled vegetables. This is the food. No rice at all, second uncle said. Rice is so precious. How could it be given to you? Grandma's eyes narrowed slightly. Sit down. Second uncle swallowed his saliva. Now that the family was divided, he had become the main laborer and would have to work every day. Grandma glanced sideways at Dad. Lu, I gave birth to you and raised you. I won't say anything else. These things are all for your family. Mom's eyes reddened. Mom, all those bowls are chipped and the farm tools are no good. How can you be so partial? Grandma raised her chin. You want to split the family, but you can't expect to take no loss, right? Otherwise, don't split. Many villagers gathered around to watch, saying, You Xianglan, you're really something. Not even one good bowl for the eldest son's family. Grandma was displeased. They wanted to split the family themselves, and now you blame me for dividing things unfairly? Why don't you take them in as your own sons? The village had looked at Dad with sympathy. Split then. These things are what they are. But we need to write it down in black and white. I said clearly. Only I knew that these things were worthless, but after the split, I would be free. From now on, when we eat meat, we wouldn't have to worry about Grandma taking the whole pot away. Mom, don't worry. I'll get new things later. Let Dad sign, and let's split the family. Big brother also said, Mom, let Dad sign. If we live separately, we can have enough to eat. Dad signed the name Lu Xuanfeng. Although the characters were a bit crooked, his eyes shone with an unusual excitement. Because I had said I set traps in the mountains. If we successfully split the family, we could eat meat tonight. After the split, the village head kept the documents and gave each family a copy of the separation agreement, both signed and fingerprinted. I caught up with the village head. Village head, do you have a hunting rifle and a flashlight at home? The village head smiled. You little rascal, want to borrow them? The village head knew me too well. If I hunt any game, I'll make sure you have meat to go with your liquor. The village head nodded. The hunting rifle only has 20 bullets, and I can lend you the flashlight, but I'll only give you 3 bullets. I knew the importance of bullets. Deal. 3 bullets it is. The village head said give, not lend, so I owed him a favor. After borrowing the hunting rifle from the village head, I went up the mountain in the dark. When I reached the trap, I turned on the flashlight on my forehead. A lone wolf lay in the trap, a sharp stake piercing its throat. It was already dead. The hairs on my back stood up, and the fine hairs on my arms bristled. This was the body's natural reaction to a wolf. The wolf was quite large, about 70 gene, relatively lean, with a long body. It should be an old wolf. I didn't dare stay long. I put the prey in a cloth bag and carried it down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a 2-wheeled cart I had borrowed from Uncle Zhang's house. I loaded it and pushed it home. The mountain road was dark, but with the prey in hand, I walked quickly. In about an hour, I arrived home. Big brother was the first to open the yard gate. Urchin, did you really catch something? Yeah, big brother, look, a wild wolf, 2 live pheasants, and 13 wild pheasant eggs. Little sister exclaimed excitedly. Second brother, you brought back prey. That's great. Dad called from the room. Help me out to see. Big brother and I supported Dad on either side as he came out. When he saw the wolf, his eyes reddened with excitement. Don't buy medicine anymore. Sell the wolf. And first find a wife for your eldest brother. I'm afraid my body won't recover. Dad, trust Urchin. I can go hunting in the mountains again. I'll earn the money for Big brother's wife. Big brother immediately said, why don't I go hunting too? I won't let Urchin take all the risk. I said seriously, Big brother, you absolutely must not go into the mountains. I dare to go because someone taught me how to hunt. Otherwise, do you think I'd risk my life? I couldn't tell them about my past life. In my previous life, I was a sharpshooter. Hunting was a piece of cake. Big brother was stunned for a moment and sighed. I was too impulsive. Should I handle the wolf? Let me do it. I handed the 2 live pheasants to Mom. Mom, see if you can keep them alive and let them hatch chicks. Then our family will have eggs to eat. Sonia, from now on, you're in charge of taking care of the chicks. Sonia happily replied. Got it, second brother. Mom immediately took little sister to make a chicken coop, put the pheasants in, and placed the eggs in a small bamboo basket inside a cabinet. I started processing the wolf. I skinned it completely and handed the pelt to Mom for treatment. Wolf fur is a rare item. If handled well, it could sell for a good price. Then I used a knife to gut it, my movements clean and decisive. I cut about 3 gene of meat from the wolf's belly, including the ribs and skin. Big brother, tie it up with reeds. Later, take it to the village head and tell him about borrowing the hunting rifle. Okay, sure. I cleaned the wolf's innards. Mom, we won't sell these. We'll braise them ourselves. Also, set aside half a gene of wolf meat to send to Grandma tomorrow morning. Grandma was very heartless. She wouldn't get a single bit of meat. Grandma, maternal, is an elder. Giving her some would help her health. As for the black-hearted paternal grandmother, forget it. Mom put the wolf innards in a pot to braise slowly. I had gathered dried star anise from the mountain, which is perfect for braising meat. Big brother, I'll take the prey to the county to sell. You and Mom take care of the farm work. Okay, I understand. I'm not good at selling wolf meat. Lu Cheng said. Hang up my 3 gene of wolf belly meat. I'll deliver it to the village head when I get back. Now I'm going to the county seat. In 1960, hunters could still sell some game meat to earn a little money for the family. Because Lu Cheng lived in a mountainous area far from the county seat, he had to walk on foot and push the wolf meat, so he needed to leave at least 2 hours early. When Lu Cheng arrived at the county seat, the black market was already bustling with vegetable sellers. Workers living in the county got up early to buy groceries. Although prices were very low in that era, money was quite valuable. Lu Cheng listened to the meat prices of others. Then he uncovered the clean cloth covering the wolf meat. Fresh wolf meat for sale. Fresh wolf meat for sale. His voice was deep and resonant, echoing melodiously. Immediately, several female workers from the black market came up and asked, "How much is this wolf meat?" "Sister, which part do you want to buy? The price varies. Take a look." Lu Cheng lightly moved his hand over the wolf meat. Wolf meat was also rare at this time. "I want this wolf belly ribs. Weigh me 2 jin." "Okay, wolf belly ribs are best for braised hand-grabbed wolf ribs. 1 jin is 1.5 yuan, 2 jin is 3 yuan. The sister said, "Oh, that's not cheap." Lu Cheng immediately said, "Sister, you know, pork ribs cost 0.7 yuan per jin. But wolf ribs are rare, as you know." After Lu Cheng's persuasion, the sister readily took out 5 yuan and said, "All right, I'll buy it." Lu Cheng said calmly, "Sister, with these 2 yuan, I'll cut you some wolf rump meat, and you can braise it together with the ribs. The kids will love it. It'll definitely help them grow tall and smart." The sister looked, and the piece of wolf rump meat Lu Cheng cut for her was a full jin. She was clearly very happy. Okay, after the first sister bought wolf meat, several other female workers gathered around. Within an hour, the entire wolf was sold out. This made the nearby pork sellers extremely envious. Fortunately, they thought to themselves that wolf meat wasn't available every day, which balanced their minds a bit. Lu Cheng separated the money and put it in different pockets. He pushed the cart to a nearby stall and said, "Brother, how much for this pork offal?" The man immediately said politely, "Brother, I'll give you a discount. One set is just 5 yuan." Lu Cheng frowned slightly. Pork offal is very troublesome to process, and it's already 11 in the morning. If you wait until afternoon, this set of offal will be wasted. How about selling it to me for 4 yuan? The man swallowed. The offal was indeed hard to sell. He had often sold it cheaply. But even the cheap price was 5 yuan. This wolf meat seller actually bargained for 4 yuan. Seeing Lu Cheng's cold and dignified demeanor, he couldn't help but want to make friends, because he also wanted to taste wolf meat. Just now, he saw Lu Cheng cut a piece of wolf rump meat and put it aside privately. "Brother, do you still have wolf meat? I'll sell you the pork offal cheap, and you sell me a pound of wolf meat?" Lu Cheng's cold and handsome face showed a hint of a smile. "I did cut a piece of wolf meat, but I'm going to give it away. Forget the pork offal. I don't want it anymore." The stall owner saw Lu Cheng about to leave and immediately said, "Hey, brother, wait a minute. I'll sell it to you for 4 yuan. Consider it making a friend." Lu Cheng's face, after walking a few steps, showed an imperceptible smirk. "Okay." The stall owner quickly packed the pork offal in a basin. "You have to pay me 1 yuan for this basin, or I'll lose money." "Okay, that's 5 yuan total." The stall owner watched Lu Cheng's back as he walked away slowly and thought, "This guy looks really strong, doesn't he? His energy and spirit are really good." Another stall owner said, "A man who can hunt a wolf. Think about it. Would he lack strength?" That's true. Lu Cheng walked for nearly 2 more hours before returning home. He bought some brown sugar and meat buns on the street. "Sonia, try these meat buns quickly." Sonia immediately reached out her slightly dark hands. "Second brother, I can eat too." "Okay, I'll give you another one." Sonia smiled, revealing her teeth. One of her teeth was missing, and her smile was innocent and pure. She took a bite of the bun and directly saw the thick meat filling. "Oh my, it's meat-filled." Guoxiuxiu saw Sonia eating with a happy expression and reached out to ruffle her hair. "Eat slowly." "Mom, there are still many buns here. Heat them up in the evening." Okay. Guoxiuxiu quickly took the white cloth bag full of buns and immediately prepared the pot to heat them. Meanwhile, Lu Cheng took the wolf belly meat he had saved in the morning and went to the village chief's house. "Uncle Chun, this is 3 pounds of wolf belly meat. Braise it for dinner tonight." Chen Guifu took the 3 pounds of wolf belly meat and said with a smile, "Urchin, you're a rare hunter. Did the wolf run into your gun by itself?" "I didn't use a single bullet. I lured it into a trap with 2 pheasants." The village chief looked at him approvingly. "You kid, you're really something? Come, tonight we drink until we're drunk. Have a drink with Uncle Chun." "Sure, then I won't stand on ceremony." Then the village chief's wife brought out some fried peanuts and some dried meat. The wolf belly meat was also stewed in the pot. To eat faster, the village chief's wife cut some thin slices and stir-fried them. But when Lu Cheng tasted a piece, the stir-fried wolf belly meat was just edible. Compared to the meat he ate in modern times, it was still a bit bland. But in that era, the village chief's wife's cooking was already considered top-notch. "Uncle Chun, I have something to discuss with you." Chen Guifu took a sip of white liquor. "Speak." I'm listening. I want to buy a few more bullets from you, Uncle Chun. Urchin, are you going hunting in the mountains again? To be honest, Uncle Chun, with my physical strength, I can earn money working in the fields, but I'm not content with that. Chen Guifu put down his glass. Okay. How many bullets do you want? Chen Guifu also knew that this Baidadu needed hunters to go hunting. In recent years, how much of the village's crops had been destroyed by wild boars? As the village chief, he was extremely anxious. Seeing the village's grain ravaged by wild boars, a few brave men went up the mountain to hunt. But none of them returned. How many bullets do you want? Let me tell you, Uncle Chun also has something to discuss with you. Uncle Chun, go ahead, I'm listening. For these bullets, I won't charge you a cent for the first 10. Just tell me how many you want. Uncle Chun, I want all the bullets you have. I want all 17. Good boy. Wait here. Uncle Chun went into his room, took out an iron box from a small cabinet, which was obviously heavy. He walked over slowly. When he put it on the table, it made a thud. Kid, take a look. All of Uncle Chin's possessions are here. Lu Qing opened the iron box lid and saw the intact bullets. Great. For these bullets, I'll bring Uncle Chun some meat after hunting. Also, how much per bullet? I'll buy them from Uncle Chun. Chun Guifu shook his head and said, the first 10 bullets are a gift from the village to drive away the wild boars. Whether this year's crops can be saved depends on you. What about the next 10 bullets? How much each? I'll buy them. Chun Guifu said with difficulty. Urchin, it's not that I'm making it hard for you. If you become the village's hunter, you can get a monthly salary of 10 yuan, and I can also apply for bullets from above. But you'll be responsible for guarding the village's crops. Of course, the wild boars are elusive, and I can't predict where they'll appear. Chen Guifu quickly said, don't worry about that. You just guard the crops. If wild boars or road deer appear, you can scare them away by firing your gun. Chen Guifu also knew that facing a wild boar, expecting Lu Chang to kill, it would be too much. Just firing the gun to drive them away would be good enough. Chen Guifu immediately said, however, every bullet used must be recorded. You can't use them casually. Got it. Thank you, Uncle Chun. Chen Guifu reluctantly took another look at the bullets. He also wanted to go hunting in the mountains, but now that he was the village chief, he had a monthly salary and his family could get by. There was no need to risk his life in the mountains. Lu Chang carried the shotgun on his back and hung the bullets on his body. Chen Guifu gave him a set of keys to a small yard at the foot of the mountain. It was where a hunter had lived in the early years. But since that hunter went into the mountains and never returned, several men from Liuya village had gone into the mountains one after another, but none came back. The village chief could only give his gun to Lu Cheng for now, because in the big mountains, with many wolves, the gun was the lifeblood of the entire village. The gun, applied for by the village chief from the police station, was also above board. Now that Lu Cheng had returned safely, the villagers were whispering among themselves. This Lu Cheng must be the hunter chosen by the mountain god. He came to protect the village. Lu Cheng slept for a while in the small yard at the foot of the mountain, and vaguely heard some footsteps, but they were only outside the yard. No one knocked or called. Lu Cheng had slept enough, so he got up from the simple earthen bed, went outside the yard, and saw on the ground 2 cabbages, a handful of lettuce, another handful of green onions, and a small bag of steamed dried sweet potatoes. Lu Cheng understood in his heart that these were brought by the villagers. Being a hunter in the village almost meant constantly fighting wild boars, road deer, or wolves. Some better-off villagers would come every few days to bring a little token of their appreciation. Lu Cheng carried the vegetables into the kitchen, drew well water into a pot, and washed it several times, until the rusty pot was shiny clean. Lu Cheng boiled water, cut some cabbage into it, threw in a few pieces of dried sweet potato, and added some chopped green onions. Sprinkled a pinch of salt, then took a large bowl and ate at the door. He had to eat quickly and go to the village to explain to his mother that he would be the village hunter from now on, with a monthly salary of 10 yuan, and Guo Xiuxiu could collect it every month. At that time, 3 yuan was enough for a day's meat in the county town, but in the countryside, it could buy an ordinary family a month's worth of oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, and some medicine for headaches and fevers. Of course, many things were obtained from the black market, or various ration tickets were obtained from others. In the evening, when Guo Xiuxiu heard that Urchin was going to be the village hunter with a public salary, and that Urchin would hand over all his salary to her, she cried so much that tears and snot flowed freely. How could Guo Xiuxiu bear it? Urchin living in that hunter's small yard meant he was ready to sacrifice his precious life at any moment. Such a decision made Guo Xiuxiu cry uncontrollably. Sonia was still confused. Mom, isn't it good that my second brother is a hunter? Why are you crying? Sonya, mom's heart aches. Lu Cheng heard Guoxiuxiu crying her heart out in the house. But he still insisted on becoming a hunter. Because this was his opportunity. He was a sharpshooter. If he didn't protect the villagers in the deep mountains, what meaning would his rebirth have? Urching, here are the eggs from home. Take them. Lu Yin packed all the wild eggs in a small cloth bag and handed them to Lu Cheng. Big brother, comfort our mother. Even if I become a hunter, I can protect myself, and I'll come back often for meals. Lu Cheng originally planned to live directly in the small yard at the foot of the mountain, but seeing Guoxiuxiu cry like this, he decided to come back more often. Letting Guoxiuxiu see him safe, he believed she would come to terms with his decision to become a hunter. Lu Cheng saw Sonya. Even though it was early winter with snowfall, she was wearing a pair of slippers. Her toes were red with cold and had several chilblains. It was heartbreaking to see the girl. Moreover, the straw sandals with small cloth flowers were discarded by the daughter of his second uncle, and she picked them up like a treasure. Lu Cheng secretly decided to bring back a pair of white cloth shoes from the county town tomorrow, so that Sonya could also wear new shoes. Lu Cheng left when the sky was dim. He had to guard several places in the mountains where wild boars often appeared, probably for about an hour. As long as someone guarded the downhill entrance, the wild boars wouldn't dare to be too reckless. Lu Cheng guarded for over an hour, during which a few small insects crossed his path. There were also small mice scurrying past him. In addition, a few wild rabbits darted out. But since he became a hunter and received a salary, he had to guard the crops. Nowadays, many villagers dig sweet potatoes during the day and send them to the sweet potato seller. But the sweet potato seller must not be discovered by wild boars, otherwise, the sweet potatoes would be ruined by them. Although there was a chance to trap wild boars, they were as cunning as thieves, eating and running away. In previous years, several households had their sweet potatoes completely destroyed by wild boars. Just as Lu Cheng thought the wild boars wouldn't dare to come today, suddenly a pig head emerged from the grass. The black pig skin under the moonlight was like a ghost. Lu Cheng aimed his gun at it and fired. The leading wild boar was extremely cunning and wasn't hit. But the one following behind it wasn't so lucky. Second shot, bang. The wild boar behind the leader groaned a few times and fell to the ground. Lu Cheng was alone, and the herd seemed to be considering whether to attack. Lu Cheng was also a clever hunter because in his previous life, he was a sharpshooter. Although the first shot missed, it hit the wild boar behind. Then he fired a second shot, and the injured wild boar could no longer walk. It fell to the ground, groaning. The leading wild boar immediately turned around, grunted a few times, and led the herd away noisily. They headed toward the mountain of another village. Lu Cheng thought, with so many wild boars, if he could hunt one every so often, the villagers, old and young, could get more meat. Because he held the position of hunter, he could obtain a hunting gun so smoothly. Hunting guns were public property. Individuals could not own them arbitrarily. So this wild boar belonged to the village, not to him personally. But he could get a share, and his family could also get a share, so it was double. After a while, the village chief brought a dozen strong men hurrying over. They carried either hoes, or shovels, or rakes. The village chief said, "Urching, I heard you fired 2 shots. Are you okay?" The villagers said, "Yes." As soon as we heard the gunshots, we grabbed our tools and rushed to the village chief's house. Others also said, "Yeah, me too. Us too." Lu Cheng said gratefully, "Village chief, I'm not injured. The herd ran away. I only wounded one wild boar over there." Lu Cheng pointed to a dark shadow on the ground. "The wild boar is injured, and naturally fierce. Please call Butcher Zhang over to slaughter it." The village chief said with a raised voice. Immediately a strong man said, "I'll go call Butcher Zhang." Then the strong man who spoke quickly returned to the village. The others gathered around, tied up the wild boar, and carried it to the village square with thick branches. When everyone arrived at the square, Butcher Zhang and his team had already set up an iron pot and boiled a large pot of water. They were ready to slaughter the wild boar. Almost all the villagers, old and young, came to watch the slaughter. Except for those who were in confinement or nursing babies and couldn't come out. Everyone else came to watch. Lu Cheng saw there was nothing he could help with. So he picked up his gun and chased in the direction the wild boars had gone. Although the wild boars headed toward another village, they were neighboring villages, so if he could help, he would. As soon as Lu Cheng reached the edge of that village's mountain, he saw the wild boars gnawing on sweet potatoes. With each root, they took a bite and then dug up another. It could be said that the sweet potatoes they bit were no longer edible for humans. This household's sweet potato field was more than half destroyed by them. Without a word, Lu Cheng fired a shot at the wild boars. Lu Cheng saw that his shot hit a wild boar, but it could still walk, just slowly due to the injury. Lu Cheng had a little scheme in his mind. It said that honest people can't be too honest. Now there was a wild boar in the village being slaughtered. If he quietly sold this one, he could buy some cotton for his family and have the quilts properly refluffed by a cotton fluffer. That would cost quite a bit, so this wild boar was especially important. Lu Cheng drove the injured wild boar into a cave. The wild boar grunted a few times in the cave and then lay still. Lu Cheng walked in, holding a sharp long knife. One his uncle had given him when he was a child. But this involved some risk. If the wild boar fought desperately, he could easily get hurt. However, if he fired another shot, using too many bullets, he would have to turn the wild boar over to the public. Lu Cheng grabbed a handful of small stones from the ground and threw them at the wild boar. The wild boar grunted and prepared to get up and run. But in that instant, Lu Cheng swiftly moved over and stabbed it in the heart. At the same time, he used a tree branch to pin the wild boar's head, immobilizing it. After a few minutes, the wild boar died, leaving a pool of blood on the ground. Lu Cheng didn't know if it was because he was poor and desperate, but at that moment he burst with astonishing strength. He hoisted the wild boar onto his shoulders and went down the mountain along the path. He didn't return to the village but carried the huge wild boar to the county town. He roughly estimated the weight of the wild boar, about 200 jin. After carrying it halfway, Lu Cheng put the wild boar down on the grass to catch his breath. You know, heaven is watching. To ensure his family could survive the winter, to get a few good quilts and several cotton-padded jackets and pants, he had to do this. Obviously, Grandma would never give them a single jean of cotton. Even though she harvested a lot of cotton, she sold it all. At that time, Grandma only kept 30 jean of cotton, clearly not intending to give any to their family. How hateful! How could a grandmother be so biased? Since Lu Cheng was selling wild boar meat illegally, he couldn't sell it openly at the market. So he quietly went to the man who had bought pig offal from him before. Wild boar meat, dare to take it? The man said excitedly. Brother, can I see the goods? Then the two looked at the wild boar, and the man readily paid. Lu Cheng didn't ask for an exorbitant price. He set a fixed price, 260 yuan for 200 jin, at a wholesale price of 1 yuan and 30 cents per jin. The man went home to get the money, and then quietly carried the wild boar inside with his wife. Seeing his excitement, Lu Cheng knew they could make a good profit by reselling it. But there was no other way. He couldn't show his face at the market to sell. At this time, if you sold 70 jin of wolf meat, others wouldn't envy you or report you. But a whole wild boar was considered village public property, although no one in the village dared to hunt wild boars for fear of being killed by them. But if the villagers found out that Lu Cheng had sold the entire wild boar by himself and earned 260 yuan, they would tear him to pieces. Not even a scrap would be left. That's the benefit. Lu Cheng knew that it was still dark, so he went to the clothing store. He bought himself a new set of gray cotton-padded jacket and trousers, and a set of thermal underwear. Actually, he could have brought clothes for his family when he sold the wolf meat last time. But at that time, he wasn't sure about the sizes of his family members, and he was afraid that if the clothes didn't fit, it would be inconvenient to exchange them. Guxiuxiu also said, "Don't have clothes made outside. Just buy the cloth and cotton and bring them back." She would make them herself. Lu Cheng bought a set of cotton-padded clothes because he had to guard the crops. So he needed a set of clothes that could keep him warm right away. Then he bought a set for his eldest brother, one for his third sister, and one for himself and his mother Guxiuxiu. These cloth coupons and grain coupons were bought by Lu Cheng from the villagers. Some people in the village saved their coupons and were reluctant to spend them, so they exchanged them for money, and Lu Cheng bought their coupons. He also bought a large bag of cotton and a few feet of good cloth to take home. When he passed by the pastry shop, he went up and said, "Give me a few jin of pastries." The pastry shop owner's wife immediately came forward happily and said, "Hey, big brother, is there a happy event at home? What kind of pastries do you want? Put a little of each, and buy more of the most delicious ones." The owner's wife immediately said, "Sure, the chestnut and mung bean ones are the best, especially popular. I'll pack more for you." The owner's wife's delicate hands were fair and tender, and Lu Cheng felt a slight itch in his heart. He quickly looked away. The owner's wife said again, "Big brother, do you want some red bean ones too?" "Okay, a few pieces." The owner's wife was extremely happy inside. "That'll be 13 yuan in total." The owner's wife weighed them and smiled. Lu Cheng nodded. "Here's the money." Lu Cheng took out 3 5 yuan old-style RMB notes. The owner's wife immediately gave back 2 1 yuan notes and said, "Big brother, keep them. Come again next time." Okay. Lu Cheng didn't dare look at the female boss anymore. The city women, with their delicate looks, really made men want to take a few more glances. Unlike the rural women, whose skin was slightly rough and dark, the city women, who didn't sunbathe every day, had skin as smooth and fair as cream and dew. They were captivating. On his way, Lu Cheng recalled the female boss's smile several times. He couldn't help but curl the corner of his mouth. In his previous life, he was a busy person, dedicating his whole life to shooting. To earn more money, he participated in various shooting competitions, and half of the rewards he sent to Hope primary schools, and the other half he kept for himself. Life had no more variety. In this life, he wanted to balance shooting and living. At least for now, he could rely on his past life's memory to hunt. In this era, if a family had a hunter, the family would be supported by the villagers, because he was the guardian of the crops. To the villagers, that was closely related to their crops. He had to maintain this relationship. Sure enough, as soon as Lu Cheng returned home, he saw someone coming to curry favor. Third uncle. Hey, Urchin, you're doing a great job guarding the crops. Your third uncle is here to thank you. I've given the thank you gift to your mother. Keep up the good work, huh? Lu Cheng then realized that his third uncle never acts without a purpose. This gift was because early this morning, the wild boar died in his field. If he hadn't killed the wild boar, why would he be willing to send a gift? Third uncle, you're too kind, Lu Cheng said warmly, suppressing his temper. Lu Xuanyan smiled and said, all right, I'll be going now. Lu Xuanyan clenched his hand slightly, thinking Lu Cheng would say there's no need for the gift and ask him to take it back. Instead, Lu Cheng said, take care, third uncle. Go slowly, Lu Xuanyan. So his hope turned into a joke? He had told his wife he could bring the gift back. Now, going back would be embarrassing. Lu Xuanyan, where's your gift? Third aunt He Guame angrily grabbed Lu Xuanyan's ear. Ouch, ouch, let go. Humph. He Guame let go and started crying. You damned man. That gift was meant for my mother, but you gave it to that useless family. Lu Xuanyan rubbed his ear. Don't cry at the drop of a hat. You can give half of the meat distributed by the village to your mother. He Guame took a deep breath and glanced. While this meat isn't much, but that gift was white sugar for making tang yuan, black sesame, and 20 packets of shampoo. At that time, shampoo was usually sold in small packets, 1 packet per use. Hey, giving meat is the same. Lu Xuanyan angrily went into the house. He Guame went to the kitchen, saw a piece of meat, and cut half of it. Her mother had long been hoping she would come back to support her. But when He Guame arrived at her mother's home, she found that her sister-in-law wasn't as fierce as her mother had said. The sister-in-law was busy with farm work every day. She put down the pork and made an excuse to go home. As soon as He Guame left, her mother cut the meat and boiled it. Happily, she called her eldest son's family back to eat. When He Guame returned home and saw only half the pork, she felt a little disappointed. She had thought her mother couldn't do without her care. But later she realized, her mother lived even more comfortably than she did. Where was the hardship she described? Meanwhile, Lu Cheng bought a pair of little white cloth shoes for Lu Fang. Quick, try them on. Second brother, are these for me? Yes, Sonia, try them on quickly. Lu Fang wiped her feet with a clean cloth before carefully putting on the white cloth shoes. Second brother, these shoes are really warm. Do you like them? Yes, I love them. Then Lu Yan also changed into a set of cotton-padded jacket and trousers, looking much more handsome. Guo Xiuxiu also came out wearing a new set of cotton-padded clothes. She said, each of us now has a set of cotton-padded clothes to wear. The remaining cotton will be used for quilts, so we won't be cold when sleeping. Mom, I'll buy more cotton for quilts tomorrow. But you need to make each of us an extra set of cotton-padded clothes. One set isn't enough for changing. This isn't it too extravagant? Mom, no, just make them. All right, I'll listen to you. Urchin has grown up and does things methodically. Mom, we need to make our family look like it's thriving again. Look, we eat well and dress well. Later, on the land next to our old house, we'll build a small house for our eldest brother so he can start his own family. Urchin, don't worry about building the house. I'll handle it myself. Lu Cheng patted his eldest brother on the shoulder and said, brother, we are a family. Trust me, we will soon be able to build you a small house. Lu Cheng looked at the small yard in front of him, which was so dilapidated that the wind blew through. These were originally a few broken rooms for storing firewood, but because of the family division, Grandma gave their family the worst rooms. It was clearly revenge. At this moment, third aunt He Guame was in the elder's room. Mom, let me tell you, that Lu Cheng is really a black-hearted kid. Think about it. Before the family split, when did he ever hunt? And now? Not long ago, I saw him carrying big and small bags home. Yu Xianglan's old eyes turned cold. Humph. This little brat has grown wings and is hard to control. He Gueme looked sad and said, as his third aunt, I naturally won't get any benefits from him. But now the village has given their family double portions of meat, and Lu Cheng hasn't even offered any to you. Yu Xianglan glared coldly at Higueme. Humph. It's not yet lunchtime? I'll wait a bit longer. All right, Mom, take your time. I've left my meat here. Yu Xianglan glanced at Higueme's meat. She felt slightly satisfied. Higueme was quite ruthless to herself. To please Yu Xianglan, she had cut another half of her meat and brought it over. So the meat left in her own home was only a small portion. When Lu Xuanyan heard about this, he was almost furious. You wasteful woman, you want Mom to control that urchin? Don't you use your own brain? That family has already split off. Who can control them? Higueme said angrily. Humph. Anyway, it's already given away. If you want it, go get it yourself. After all, she's your mother, not mine. Higueme went into the kitchen to cook rice. She was furious. Think about how hard it was to eat meat before. Now Lu Cheng hunted a wolf last time and heard he sold it in the county town. That must have been a lot of money. No wonder he keeps bringing big and small packages home. Higueme just couldn't accept it. If only that money were hers. While putting rice in the pot, she broke some soft twigs into the stove. Her eyes kept glancing outside. Lu Xuanyan paced around the small yard a few times. He still didn't have the guts to go get that piece of meat back from his mother. After all, his wife had just taken it over. If he, as the son, brought it back, he feared he would never get good land again. Because the eldest Lu had split the family. Now the third Lu Xuanyan, also wanted to split the family. Besides doing his own household chores, he had to work on his parents' land. But his parents belonged to all the brothers, not just him. Why should he get less benefits, but do free labor for his parents every day? Thinking this, Lu Xuanyan quickly returned to the kitchen. Gome, listen, how about we split the family too? Really? That would be great. But then you'll have to get up early to make breakfast yourself. Are you willing? Yes, very willing. You know, cooking breakfast with the second sister-in-law. I'm always uncomfortable, and she's unhappy. I've wanted to split the family for a long time. Lu Xuanyan swallowed and said, all right, as long as you agree. Lu Xuanyan thought to himself, this is great. From now on, his mother won't blame him. Lu Xuanyan rubbed his eyes hard, then rubbed his nose vigorously and tugged at both ears. Now he looked like he had just cried fiercely. He also pinched himself hard in several places. He hurried to Yu Xianglan's room. Mom, your third daughter-in-law is too fierce. Yu Xianglan heard the voice and said without lifting her eyelids, Goei is a good person. She gave you children. Just bear with it. Mom, look, she almost pulled my ear off. Only then did Yu Xianglan look up. Seeing this, a pained expression appeared on her face. Oh my, that Higueme is so heavy-handed. That damned woman, so cruel. Son, does it hurt? Yu Xianglan looked distressed and carefully searched in the cabinet for a while. She found a small box of cooling ointment. Here, apply some cooling ointment. It will heal faster. Lu Xuanyan saw the timing was right and squeezed out a tear or two. Mom, if you don't let us split the family, I'll get beaten once every 3 days and twice every 5 days. Yu Xianglan stopped applying the ointment. Third son, you want to split the family too? Mom, Gueme has wanted to split the family for a long time. That's why she beats me every few days. I've been afraid to say it. Look, my whole body is covered with her pinches and hits. Look, Yu Xianglan lifted the third son's clothes and saw several pinch marks on his back. She rolled up his sleeves and saw his hands were all bruised. That damned woman. Should I give her a good beating to vent your anger? Mom, please don't. You know my son and daughter need their mother too. Seeing the third son crying and begging like that, Yu Xianglan pounded the table hard, and it made a dull sound. That Higueme is really rebelling. I thought she was a good daughter-in-law. Today she was the first to bring me meat. I didn't expect her to treat my son like this. Am I blind? I'll go reason with her. Mom, don't go. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't even be allowed to touch the bed tonight. Yu Xianglan was reluctant to separate from her sons. Because she was old. If they didn't split, at least the farm work and meals would be taken care of by her daughters-in-law. Now she regretted it. She wished she had treated Lu Xuanfeng's family better earlier. No splitting. Besides this, Mom can consider anything else. The third son immediately wiped his tears. Mom, why can the eldest family split, but we can't? No means no. No reason. The third son said unhappily. Mom, if you don't make it clear today, we won't give up. Right. We, the second family, won't give up either. Then Lu Xuanwang and his wife, along with Higueme, squeezed in from the door. It turned out Higueme had guessed the old woman didn't want to split. So when the third son entered the old woman's room, she went to call the second family to eavesdrop. As it turned out, Higuaime's guess was exactly right. "Mom, we all want to split the family," Lu Xuanwang of the second family said in a low voice. "You just don't understand. Let me tell you, we are one close family, but Lu Xuanfeng is not." Instantly, the whole family was shocked, eyes wide, mouths open. Outside the door, Lu Cheng immediately stopped. He had originally prepared a piece of wild boar meat for Sonia to give to Grandma. But Sonia said she didn't want to see Grandma because Grandma was mean to her. So Lu Cheng came himself. And he heard such shocking news? Whose child was his father? He wasn't Grandma's biological son. Then who were his father's biological parents? Lu Cheng wanted to go in and ask, but he patiently stayed by the door. At that moment, the third son Lu Xuanyan came out to check the door and didn't see Lu Cheng. Lu Xuanyan went back and said, "Mom, no outsiders. Tell us about eldest brother's background." Yu Xianglan's eyes then drifted off as she recalled. That family was all communists. You know, at that time, communists couldn't keep their children with them. So the child was left in our village. Coincidentally, after I got married, I couldn't get pregnant. The first 2 pregnancies miscarried within 2 months. Look, this is what that woman left on Lu Xuanfeng, telling him to wear it so he could have something to remember her by. The third son immediately took it and said, "Mom, let me keep this." The second son snatched it away. "No, let me keep it. Who knows if you'll go recognize them privately." Yu Xianglan quickly said, "You must not go recognize them. Lu Xuanfeng has a birthmark that is said to be exactly like that communist's. If you want to pretend, you need to plan carefully. At least the birthmark must match." Lu Xuanwang and Lu Xuanyan both said excitedly, "There's always a way." Lu Cheng peeked through a small crack and saw a bullet shell with the character "Feng" engraved on it. Lu Cheng quietly walked to the courtyard gate and then made his footsteps heavier. "Grandma, I brought you meat." The people in the room immediately put on serious faces. And Yu Xianglan put away the token. Lu Cheng entered the room. Yu Xianglan's movements were slow. He glanced at the corner under the quilt and quickly looked away. "Oh, everyone's here." The people in the room laughed awkwardly. "We just happened to come see Grandma." Lu Cheng put the half-caddy of pork belly on the table and said, "Grandma, cook it yourself. I have to guard the crops, so I won't stay long." "All right, go ahead." Yu Xianglan felt a pang of guilt. That communist might still be alive. Lu Xuanfeng was thin and sickly. Lu Yin took after Guoxiuxiu. Only Lu Cheng looked exactly like that communist when he was young. And when Lu Yin and Lu Cheng were young, she had seen their birthmarks, identical to that communist's. That birthmark was a male marker in their family. Girls didn't have it, only boys. Sonia didn't have that birthmark. After Lu Cheng returned from Yu Xianglan's place, he was restless all the way. He learned that his father was not his grandparents' biological son. No wonder they always looked down on his family. According to what Yu Xianglan told her children, the money she used to buy land came from the money left by his biological grandparents to acquire these properties. At that time, land couldn't be bought or sold, but could be exchanged among the people. That is, you give some money, and someone gives you 3 acres of land, while you give back only 1 acre. The difference of 2 acres is compensated with money. So it was a disguised sale. Yu Xianglan used this method to buy a lot of land, turning from a small household in the village into a medium-sized landowner with more land. Over the years, Yu Xianglan hasn't suffered much. When she was young, her husband was an excellent farmer. Later, when Lu Xuanfeng got married, he brought his family to work the land for Yu Xianglan. Now, Lu Cheng's heart tightened slightly. It seemed he had to go to Yu Xianglan's room tonight. He had to get that keepsake that originally belonged to his father, no matter what. While on night watch, Lu Cheng quietly found the Gelsemium elegans, also known as hook vine, incense on the mountain. Burning it causes unconsciousness. He put the herb he found on himself. If someone suddenly enters another's home, unless the owner is sleeping very deeply, even a small noise can wake them. When the night watch reached around 4 in the morning, Lu Cheng lit his Gelsemium elegans incense at the small dog hole in Yu Xianglan's room. After about 5 minutes, he extinguished the incense. After another 3 minutes, he easily entered. Under Yu Xianglan's pillow, he found the bullet shell engraved with the character Feng. Lu Cheng took the bullet shell and replaced it with a makeshift one he had carved himself with a knife while hunting wild boar, also engraved with Feng. Clearly not the same handwriting. But Yu Xianglan and the others were illiterate, so it could fool them. Lu Cheng took the bullet shell and quietly left. As he left, the corners of his mouth curled slightly. Trying to use his biological grandparents' bullet shell to claim kinship? Humph. This fake bullet shell would expose their ambitions in front of his biological grandparents. Lu Cheng knew that the communists were now national heroes. Whether his grandparents held military positions or not, as long as they survived, they would surely enjoy state care. He learned that his grandfather was a communist. Lu Cheng was filled with excitement. No wonder he was so adept with guns. It turned out his grandfather was a soldier. Moreover, according to Yu Xianglan, the money she used to buy land came from his grandparents. So Yu Xianglan's family had been living off his family? Thinking about this made him feel bitter. Although Yu Xianglan had raised his father, it was only barely, feeding him coarse food and treating him like a beast of burden. He absolutely couldn't let Yu Xianglan succeed in claiming kinship. He believed Yu Xianglan deliberately withheld his grandparents' names for fear of leaking information. Just now, under Yu Xianglan's pillow, he saw an old embroidered pouch with the words Bamboo Lotus. Such an exquisite pouch surely wasn't Yu Xianglan's, so he took it as well. To prevent Yu Xianglan from searching house to house, he set out for the county town on foot around 4:30 this morning. The postal service still used passbooks, but if you had household registration books or property documents and wanted to store them in the bank, you could pay a corresponding storage fee, deposited year by year. There was only a small locker, with the key kept at the bank. You only needed to bring your ID. Lu Cheng knew that claiming kinship couldn't be done quickly. Moreover, did his biological grandparents still remember where they had left their child? Had the two elders been injured? Had anything unexpected happened? So reclaiming his relatives was crucial. It would allow him to take back the many lands Yu Xianglan had occupied. According to the village's normal land allocation, each person had about 1.3 mu of land, like his family. But Yu Xianglan held a considerable amount of land. So Yu Xianglan had been a fortunate woman all her life, never doing any hard labor. But she treated Lu Xuanfeng really badly. Now, she was even plotting to have her own children claim kinship with his biological grandparents? Wasn't that a case of substituting a fake for the real? By dawn, he was already at the door of the postal savings bank. Early in the morning, a line of moderate length had already formed. Whenever factories paid wages, many factory accountants would line up to withdraw money. This was the livelihood of a family. Lu Cheng also joined the line. In his view, the bullet shell engraved with foam was an item for claiming kinship, and so was the old embroidered pouch. But he couldn't tell his father about this yet. A few days ago, the doctor had seen Lu Xuanfeng and said that after changing the prescription and eating well, he could now move freely on the ground. The doctor also said that this was thanks to Guo Xiuxiu's long-term care. In an ordinary family, he would likely be bedridden and unable to walk normally for life. Now Lu Xuanfeng had voluntarily taken over sweeping and cooking at home. With Sonya's help, he could function as a normal person at home. After waiting in line for about half an hour, Lu Cheng told the bank staff his request. The staff led him to a VIP room. He signed the storage item form in detail and paid the storage fee for 1 year. It wasn't expensive. The storage fee was only 5 yuan. When Lu Cheng came out of the bank, his heart still felt heavy. Was Yu Xianglan so scheming? If he hadn't gone to deliver meat and accidentally overheard his father's background, Yu Xianglan would probably never have let his family know. No wonder. In his previous life, his family members were sent away one after another. His eldest brother was said to have been sent by his grandmother to dig coal somewhere and died not long after. Sonya, being a girl, was sent early to be someone else's daughter. Actually just a playmate for families with only one child. She also died within a few years. Only he and his mother remained. His mother died from overwork, longing for her 2 children until her death. He was lucky enough to survive, but he never dared to enter marriage. Afraid of losing loved ones, he threw himself entirely into the shooting profession, donating to Hope primary schools and helping more children. Lu Cheng opened an account under his eldest brother Lu Yan's ID, which already had 30 yuan in demand deposits. He also kept this passbook on him. He had several passbooks of his own, showing a first deposit of 96 yuan and a second deposit of 225 yuan. He now had 321 yuan in total. Additionally, he had some small change to give to the family as daily living expenses. Lu Cheng bought some red toilet paper, some scented soap, laundry soap, elastic hair ties in girls' colors, and black elastic hair ties commonly used by women. His mother and Sonya had been using discarded ones, old ones with very loose elasticity. As their pillar, how had he only noticed this now? Walking back to the village, Lu Cheng couldn't help but feel his eyelids twitch. He didn't usually believe in gods or Buddhas, but because he had secretly taken the items Yu Xianglan kept that belonged to his biological grandparents, he feared Yu Xianglan might have woken up. He quickened his pace, almost running. Soon he returned home. He saw the house was a mess, with rotten vegetable leaves everywhere and several eggs broken. Yu Xianglan was still cursing fiercely. Hurry, call Lu Cheng out. He's the only one I haven't searched. Lu Cheng quickly hid the passbook in a nearby haystack. Just then, Yu Xianglan stormed out and happened to see him. You, Lu Cheng, did you come to my room yesterday? I delivered meat, so what? Lu Cheng replied calmly, his voice low, without avoiding her gaze. Yu Xianglan said, did you enter my room? Grandma, how could I enter your room? I was on night watch, remember? Guo Xiuxiu said with a aggrieved look. Mom, Erching is the night watchman. He has a proper job and wouldn't steal your pouch. Lu Cheng slightly furrowed his brows. Yu Xianglan said, there was 5 yuan in my pouch. Did you take it? Lu Cheng said disdainfully. I have my own salary, 10 yuan a month. Would I covet your 5 yuan? In fact, Yu Xianglan had searched her 2 sons' homes thoroughly. The keepsake she had taken out yesterday was gone overnight. There was no trace to be found. Her 2 sons had also searched every place carefully, but nothing. It was old third Lu who suggested, could it be Lu Cheng? That made Yu Xianglan rush over anxiously. Yu Xianglan immediately searched Lu Cheng's body, but found nothing. All her hopes, gone overnight. If she found out who had secretly taken her keepsake, she would tear that person apart. Yu Xianglan said angrily. Third uncle stepped forward and said, Mom, did you find it? No. It must be that brat hiding it. What use is 5 yuan? It's not worth ruining my reputation. Lu Cheng's voice was low, a hint of displeasure on his face. Just then, the village chief arrived. Yu Xianglan, you vandalized old Lu's eldest son's home. You must compensate. Yu Xianglan glanced at the mess on the ground and reluctantly said, let Lu Lauer and Lu Laosan compensate him. Lu Lauer and Lu Laosan said resentfully to the village chief, Village chief, I'll go back and get something to compensate. But Lu Cheng's brows furrowed slightly. He had clearly placed an old bullet shell. So why did Yu Xianglan still come to his house to make a scene? And the old pouch he took away? He also had his mother make an identical one and put it back. Guo Xiuxiu felt a bit scared and stepped forward to say, Erching, are you okay? Mom, don't worry, I'm fine. Yu Xianglan returned home, and then Lu Laosan hurriedly followed her into the house. Mom, you just lost your composure. I took your things early this morning, and look at the fuss you made. Yu Xianglan immediately said, let me see the things. Lu Laosan quickly took out the old items. Here they are. Yu Xianglan said, why didn't you tell me before taking them? Mom, wasn't I afraid that Lauer would come to fight for them? But Mom, now that it's done, Lauer knows the things are lost. And in the future, when I recognize my new parents, I will definitely take you there to enjoy life. Yu Xianglan said, then come here. I'll tattoo a birthmark on your back that matches theirs. Lu Laosan said excitedly, Mom, you are so good to me. And under the window, Lu Cheng curled his lips. So it was Lu Laosan who caused the trouble. His goal was to secretly go and claim kinship. Lu Laosan indeed never moves without benefit. He stole it before Yu Xianglan woke up? That was less than half an hour after Lu Cheng left. So fortunately, Lu Cheng acted quickly. Otherwise Lu Laosan would have trapped him in Yu Xianglan's room. Truly heaven blessed him. Yu Xianglan didn't expect that Lu Cheng also had the village chief include the few small stools she broke in the compensation. Because Yu Xianglan was so angry, the more wildly she smashed things, the more painful it was to compensate. Yu Xianglan made Lu Lauer and Lu Laosan each contribute 2 long benches. And only then was this matter settled. Otherwise, since they had already divided the family, barging into someone else's home and smashing things without distinguishing right from wrong, scaring them out of their wits, would definitely require financial compensation. Yu Xianglan was their nominal grandmother, so the village chief said, let each side give a little, and Yu Xianglan could compensate with some money or eggs. This time, Yu Xianglan's eggs were completely wiped out. All 40 eggs she had painstakingly saved were given to Guo Xiuxiu. Guo Xiuxiu was just worrying, seeing that the wild hen was about to brood, but the eggs were used for Lu Laoda's recovery. If she bought eggs for brooding, she wasn't too willing, because Lu Cheng's hard-earned money wasn't easy to come by, and an egg cost 1.5 cents. If she bought many eggs, it would be a considerable amount of money. Now, after Yu Xianglan's outburst, the compensation included stools that were even better than the original ones. And there were more eggs than before. However, Lu Cheng still laid down the law. If anyone dared to smash his home like Yu Xianglan did, he would break their arms and legs. Yu Xianglan saw Lu Cheng's eyes and felt an inexplicable fear, because when Lu Cheng said that, his eyes glared fiercely at her. Yu Xianglan knew that she could no longer go to Lu Da's house to throw tantrums. She couldn't help but feel a bit of regret. If she had known, She should have had Lao San report the situation to her. At this moment, Yu Xianglan was tattooing a pattern on Lu Lao San. She understood in her heart that Lu Xuanfeng had recently been able to walk on the ground again, but he looked so old that even if his biological parents came, they wouldn't recognize him. However, she needed to find a way to get Lu Cheng to go into the mountains and stay there, preferably for 10 days to half a month without coming out. Now that Lu Cheng returned to the village every day, it was inconvenient for her to handle things. Lu Laosan said, "Mom, let your son handle this matter. I guarantee it will be done properly." Lu Xuanyan's mind was already racing. Lu Cheng was the night watchman. As long as he told the village chief that the crops in the fields were being rooted up by wild boars, the chief would send someone to guard them, even for several months. Yu Xianglan said with satisfaction, "All right, then go check if that gong is still alive. However, that province is far from here. The round-trip train fare won't be too much, but we have to save on food for the train." Lu Laosan immediately said, "Mom, after you finish the tattoo, I need to prepare. I'll go to my wife's parents' house to borrow some money. You can chip in a little here. I'll prepare some dry rations on the road. You can prepare some flatbread and water for me. I'll go recognize the relatives and then come back to pick you up." It turned out that yesterday Yu Xianglan deliberately didn't reveal the address of that gong. She planned to tell it privately to her third son. It goes to show that even a mother can be partial sometimes. Lu Lauer clearly had a good relationship with his second daughter-in-law, so how could he take care of the old mother's feelings? It was still the third son who came to see her from time to time. Lu Laosan thought to himself, "If I hadn't forced you to divide the family property, would you have given me this good opportunity?" Yu Xianglan was stitching stitch by stitch, slowly applying the black ink. Lu Xuanyan looked at himself in the mirror and was extremely excited. Now he had a birthmark on his back. This way, the family he was going to recognize would definitely accept him. Then Lu Laosan indeed found the village chief and complained that wild boars had rooted up the sweet potato fields, asking the night watchman to guard the mountains properly. Otherwise, everyone's sweet potatoes would be ruined. At this time, everyone was looking forward to experiencing the scene of eating wild boar meat again. Because each household had received 2 gene of meat with bones, the children had also had a taste of meat, and everyone was hoping the night watchman would catch and kill another wild boar. So the village chief also conveyed the thoughts of some villagers. Lu Cheng agreed to protect the crops and told the village chief to rest assured. Lu Cheng understood in his heart that he had to continue the village guard work, and the task of seeking relatives would have to be done by his eldest brother. But he couldn't let his eldest brother be recognized by Lu Xuanyan. He would have to disguise himself. At the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain, Lu Yin heard Lu Cheng talk about their father's background and frowned deeply. No wonder Yu Xianglan and Lu Laosan have been together every day recently, acting as if they are especially wary of us. They are preparing to go recognize relatives. Lu Cheng nodded slightly and said, "So, big brother, you need to follow third uncle without letting him discover you. Don't worry, I understand." In the following days, Lu Laosan's wife went back to her parents' house several times and finally returned with a beaming smile. He Guimei, through frugal living by her family, managed to borrow 10 yuan for travel expenses. Yu Xianglan also took out 15 yuan from her coffin fund. Together, they scraped together 25 yuan for travel expenses. Lu Xuanyan packed some dry rations in a large bag, borrowed 10 yuan for travel expenses. Yu Xianglan also took out 15 yuan from her coffin savings. Together, they scraped together 25 yuan for travel expenses. Lu Xuanyan carried some dry food in a large bag and headed to the county town early in the morning, aiming for the train station. Lu Cheng had his eldest brother Lu Yin keep an eye on Lu Laosan all day, so when Lu Laosan left, he immediately followed. Lu Cheng knew that seeking relatives was hard work. He could do it himself, but his eldest brother couldn't handle the night watchman job. His brother's marksmanship wasn't trained. Although he could scare off wild boars, since 2 had already died, they were also scared and hadn't come to the village. To kill another wild boar for money, they had to seize the opportunity. If they could make money like last time, the family's life would improve. Otherwise, when would this poverty end? So Lu Cheng slept during the morning to catch up on sleep. Sleeping deeply and soundly, Lu Yin placed a small stone at the door and left. Lu Laosan went out by ox cart, but Lu Yin already knew his destination was the county train station. He changed clothes and glued a tuft of beard that Lu Cheng had given him onto his face. He followed Lu Xuanyan all the way on the ox cart, afraid that Lu Xuanyan would talk to him. So as soon as he opened his mouth, it was, Lu Xuanyan saw that he was mute and immediately felt relieved. This disguised Lu Yin was indeed quite perfect. Lu Yin laughed inwardly, thinking, the person sitting right in front of you, and you don't even know who I am? Lu Xuanyan rubbed his hands several times along the way, while Lu Yin, because of his new cotton-padded clothes and trousers, was as warm as carrying a small sun on him. This made Lu Xuanyan unconsciously move a little closer to him. When the ox cart reached the edge of the county town, they were all told to get off, paid the ox cart fare, and then went their separate ways. At this time, Lu Yin, following the method Lu Qing taught him, knew that based on Lu Xuanyan's personality, he would definitely take advantage of others. If you pretend to be mute, he will definitely want to take advantage of you. The more foolish you act, the happier he will be. So you act a little foolish, but communication is inconvenient, and whenever asked, you just go, ah. Sure enough, Lu Yin did exactly that along the way, and in the end, Lu Xuanyan took the initiative to buy train tickets for the same route for this little mute. They headed north together. Lu Yin saw that Lu Xuanyan's stop was the same as on his ticket. He patted Lu Xuanyan on the back with a smile and forced a pack of instant noodles into his arms. This made Lu Xuanyan extremely happy. Instant noodles were a rare commodity in this era, so he happily accepted it. Meanwhile, Lu Qing carefully analyzed the wild boar's movements. It kept moving deeper into the mountains. If he didn't catch the wild boar now, then in the future, he wouldn't be able to find a wife for his eldest brother, start a family for himself, pay for his younger sister's education, continue their father's medication, or stock up on winter meat and grain. Lu Yin soaked and ate 2 packs of instant noodles, then washed the enamel basin he had brought. He felt extremely distressed. All this money was given to him by his younger brother Urching. He didn't know if this money would be enough to marry a decent girl in the village. But his father's background was a mystery, and he didn't want to let Yuxianglin's son take away the grandparents who belonged to his father. Then Lu Yin sat on the chair, pretending to sleep. Lu Xuanyan ate the pack of instant noodles dry and tore off a piece of dry pancake to eat. After filling his stomach, he thought to himself, this mute was also heading north, so he might as well mooch some food off him along the way. He helped him buy the train ticket, so mooching a bit of food wasn't too much, right? And even if it was,